Can you hear me now?
Can you also hear me? Thank you.
Test check,
Can you hear
1,
me?
2.
Heather, can you
I'm
hear me?
trying to talk quiet just because of the echo.
Testing, testing.
Thanks for your patience, everyone. Well, I know the mic's not on, but I'm vocally saying thank you to everyone for being patient. Testing, testing. That sounds better. Good evening to our community, to the Board of Education, and to administration. I am now calling the meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. Trustee Abou-Salah, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Trustee Abou-Salah. Trustee Botowski. Trustee Gator.
Present.
Trustee Nasir. Trustee Sterlini.
The addition of Rose Manti. She is the Early Childhood Program teacher at Polk with a hire date of September 5th, 2023. Please allow me to repeat that. Under superintendent's recommendations, I would like to add to this agenda the appointment of Rose, R-O-S-E, Manti, M-A-N-T-I, who will be, if voted upon, the Early Child Care Program teacher at Polk with a start date of September 5th, 2023. This was just given to me today because she just was able to make it to the administrative office to sign the contract. Okay, so be it resolved that the Board of Education.
Attorney, can I add one? Trustee Gator, can I add one more thing?
President Gator. 1 second, everyone. I am hearing something. Thank you. There's also another addition to the agenda before I accept or acknowledge the hands of our board members here. The technology coordinator, the technology director of the contract should not say coordinator, it should say technology director. And so under that resolution, which is under letter G, appointment and contract approval of Director of Technology, exhibit number 7, please add with grammatical changes to the end of that resolution. Please allow me to repeat that. That position is for the Director of Technology, and in the contract it says coordinator. So to make that clean, I am asking that the board accepts the addition to add under letter G, appointment and contract approval of Director of Technology, exhibit number 7, to add to the end of that resolution with grammatical changes. Okay, I am now acknowledging the hand of Secretary Williams.
I just wanted to, for Keith Pitts, change it from 2021 to 2023.
Please allow us to confirm that. Thank you, Secretary Williams. Just to re-echo that, Secretary Williams is asking to edit, it says Keith Pitts, Polk Special Education, September 5th, 2021. It should read September 5th, 2023. Is that all, Secretary Williams? Thank you. I acknowledge the hand of Trustee Botowski.
It was the same thing.
It was the same thing. And I'm sorry.
It was the same thing.
Very nice. Thank you. Okay. Any other changes from the board to our agenda tonight? Okay. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the August 16th, 2023 agenda as presented. A board member may request an item or items be moved from the consent agenda to superintendent's recommendations. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Vice President Walls. There's support. Supported by Trustee Nasser. Is there a discussion? Secretary Williams?
Can the motion reflect the amended agenda?
Be it resolved. So we got a motion by Vice President Wall and supported by Nasser. If you are asking that it be technically amended, yep, we will need to take this back and do it again. Okay? That's fine. Trustee Nasser, will you rescind? Yeah. Vice President
I
Wall?
rescind.
Okay. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the August 16, 2023 amended agenda as presented. A board member may request an item or items be moved from the consent agenda to superintendent's recommendation. Is there support?
So moved.
So moved by, sorry, is there a motion? I did it wrong, not you. Is there a motion? So moved by Vice President Paul. Is there support? Support. Supported by Trustee Nasser. Thank you, Secretary Lewis, for that. Is there discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Sterling?
Yes.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Winless? Yes. Trustee Upsala? Yes. Trustee Bukowski?
Yes.
Trustee Nasir?
Yes.
Trustee Gabriel?
Yes, motion carries. Just to do a quick pivot from the agenda, it was brought to the board, and to be honest, the community's attention, that someone, beloved person in our community, recently lost her daughter. And I just wanted to take a brief moment of silence to the family of Pat Greta, if we could all allow it. Thank you, everyone. On to public comment on agenda items only. Good evening to everyone. We welcome you. Is there any public comment on agenda items only? Is there any public comment on agenda items only? Is there any public comment on agenda items only? Good evening and welcome. I'll try to talk louder.
You gotta talk closer.
Mrs. Morgan, if you could pull your mic down, that might help too. No, ma'am. We know that they're working because we tested them out before the meeting. And we'll cut off the fan to see if that helps as well. If Mike is still here, maybe we could get some assistance. No, ma'am. We apologize, everyone.
Test check, 1, 2, test check.
We can hear you, Mike.
Just notice.
Thank you, Mrs. Morgan. If you could please state your name and any of your affiliation for the board.
I will, Virginia Morgan, but I have a feeling you're gonna find out that that's not required. Just one quick thing to tell you. It has item number 14 or 15, closed session. You must state the reason for the closed session, so that the public has an idea of why you're going into closed session. So I don't know if that was an agenda item that should have been approved, or something. When you make the motion to go into closed session, please state the reason.
Thank you for your public comment. Is there any other public comment on agenda items only to come before the board? Is there any other public comment on agenda items only to come before the board? Hearing and seeing none, thank you. On to superintendent's reports. Under letter A, positivity project, Mrs. Joey. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, please. Not loud, so. Hello. There we go. I was gonna you have to let it suck on there. Okay. Yep, I have a PowerPoint. I don't think I have the clicker, so can I just like wave my hand? Yeah.
Holly will also move through your presentation.
Okay. All right. Good evening, board. How are you today? Good. I'm here to present something called the Positivity Project. It's a social emotional learning curriculum. Just this little snippet right here, empowering students to build positive relationships and become the best version of themselves. That in itself, sold me. I love that. Next one. What is this project? Well, it's dedicated to empowering America's youth to build positive relationships by recognizing the character strengths
in themselves and in others. The Positivity Project is also known as P2, because it's 2P's project, Positivity Project, to help students and families cultivate citizens and leaders who will enhance our communities and our country. Next slide. This is a really short little presentation from the president and co-founder.
The volume does not seem to be working.
No worries. Go to the next one, and then I'll just ad-lib it. Okay, you get just slide this in your pants. Okay, so the premise of this whole curriculum is pretty simple. It's by consistently teaching our students about character strengths that everyone possesses, they begin to see people based on the content of their character, not who's the most famous, who's the most popular. It's getting our kids to look at kids for their qualities. This ability enhances their self-awareness, plus their self-confidence, understanding and appreciation of others as well, and interpersonal relationships, which ultimately positively influences our school community. Next one. Part E has done a really nice job. They have piloted this for the past 4 years. So this is a little snippet of what they had to say. They said, Part E has been doing P2 for 4 years now, and the impact on their school culture has been amazing. Students are noticing the character strengths in themselves and in others, and the resulting relationships are powerful catalysts for positivity throughout their school. We are so impressed with the results that Bedford, and I'm going to leave Polk off for right now. We've piloted in Bedford, but we haven't piloted yet at Polk. So with those results, Bedford actually decided to pilot it last year at my building. And if you flip to the next slide, this is what some of our Bedford teachers had to say. They loved how quick and engaging the lessons were. The kids were really into it. The lessons are ready to implement in the classroom with little to no prep required of the teacher. What it does is it gives you almost like a little video or slideshow that goes along with each character trait that's already done for you. And there's usually a character trait that's hit for the whole week. So it's not just a one and done, it's reinforced throughout the week. And they hit it various times of the year also. And the teacher said you can take as little as 10 minutes to complete the lesson, or if it's a character trait that you think your kiddos are really struggling with in your room, there's more videos, there's more lessons, there's more activities, discussion points, activities that the teachers can embellish on and further that understanding. They said it was very effective. The students were able to discuss the meaning of the character traits taught in previous lessons, and they were able to identify examples of those traits that they see in the school environment. It allowed them to make connections to the real world. They also said finally that they were able to cater the lessons to needs that are seen in the classroom. Like I said, there's an extensive list of traits. But it also has many more in-depth activities, discussions, points, things that the teacher can implement in the classroom that can further, engage the kids and deepen their understanding of things. So what I'm doing today is, sorry you guys didn't get to see the president who talks about this because he does a more today. There's like a 30% increase, and I think they said in the last 10 years of a self-centered kind of a way of thinking, and this deals with that. And it teaches kids to look deeper into people and to appreciate those qualities in themselves and in others. And what I really liked about it too is it helps them to make good relationships. Not only teaching them how to be a good friend, but what qualities to look for in a good friend too, which our students really have a hard time, trying to do that. So I think this is going to be a great tool for us, and I think it will help our communities, in all of our schools and help the community. I would love for, all of us to be able to embody this so that, you know, they can be better citizens for the rest of us.
Thank you, Mrs. Shelby, for that presentation.
Absolutely.
Is there any questions from the board? Treasurer Serlini, your knowledge? Pardon me? Oh,
Is that better?
not really, but my mic is very loud if you want mine.
All right, I'll talk really loud. So, sorry if I missed it.
No problem.
What, class, oh my gosh, what grades is this?
This is K through 5.
Okay.
So it literally has it tiered structured, you know, so the trait is the same across the board for K through 5, but it's delivered in a way that it's kindergarten appropriate or first grade or second grade, vice versa.
Okay. Do you know the cost of it?
Yes, I submitted a quote from, well, I don't know if I have a copy of that. I do not. I'm so sorry.
You got it.
I think you guys have it in your packet. Okay,
I'm losing it.
good.
We do have it. Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions from the board? Hearing and seeing none. Thank you again, Mrs.
You're
Shelby.
very welcome. Thank you for your time.
On to letter B, under superintendent's reports, curriculum associates presentation from Dr. Finney and Jeff Thomas. Good evening to you both and welcome.
Jeff Tompkins from Curriculum Associates would like to pilot this fall. Just to give you a background of what I read. And then I gives a prescriptive learning path to the teachers that will guide them on how to help remediate the skills that students perform poorly or low on that assessment. And so Jeff is going to give us a nice presentation on how that works. Here you go, Jeff.
Thanks, Scott. Good evening, board, and thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. Take a look through that, but we are going to just breeze through these slides and certainly address any questions as they come up. Go on to the next, please. So with iWriting, most people recognize us as an assessment suite. It is a K-12 diagnostic assessment. It also provides the ability to do progress monitoring, and you can do your own assessments with Standards Mastery. So there's an assessment suite as well as the learning suite. And as Kelly mentioned, they are fully integrated. The assessment is really what drives the instructional components of iWriting, and with the proposal for the pilot would be to utilize both of these platforms for the duration of the school year for potential adoption for the 24-25 school year. Next slide, please. Next slide. And just for those of you that aren't familiar with an adaptive diagnostic, basically with iWriting, it's a single K-12 platform. And as students answer questions correctly, it's going to continue to challenge them with more, with harder questions, if you will, versus if they answer incorrectly, it will give them an easier question as they go through that. So it's constantly adapting as they go through the assessment. This does cover both math and reading content areas. Again, it is K-12. This fall, we'll have approximately 13 million students across the country that are partaking in the iWriting assessment. It is Michigan Department of Education approved as a return to learn benchmark assessment, as well as read by third grade. So it's been vetted by MDE, one of the few that is on all of the quote-unquote approved lists that they have gone through. Next, please. It is highly correlated with MSTEP. Along with many other states, we've actually done correlation studies with SBAC and PARC, the Smarter Balanced Assessment, as well as, again, many states. You can see Michigan is on this chart. We have anywhere between a 0.80 and a 0.89 correlation, which anything that appears on that slide there in that shaded green area, in the world of psychometricians, that's considered to be a strong correlation. The takeaway is, as your teachers are looking at iWriting data, they can feel confident that if that iWriting data is saying a student is mastered or proficient on a certain standard or a set of standards, that's going to carry over and correlate when they then take MSTEP in the spring. So they are tightly aligned. Both of those assessments are based on the Common Core State Standards. We have Michigan standards here for both math and English language arts. Next, please. The next few slides are really just some sample reports to give you an idea of the platform itself. what teachers would see, looking at diagnostic results reports, very user-friendly, really designed and built from a teacher's lens, from an educator's lens, being able to see the triangle, if you will, which many of you may be familiar with, MTSS or RTI triangles, where you're identifying students that are maybe one grade level below versus two or more grade levels below versus those that are on grade level or above grade level. With iReady, it reports out each of the different domains in math and reading. So from a teacher's perspective, we're doing a lot of that lifting after the students take the assessment. They're going to get a variety of reports. This is one example of that diagnostic result. If you could go to the next, please. Just breaking it down a little bit further, here you're able to see just graphical representation in the different colors within each one of the domains. You can also see scaled scores. You can see grade level equivalencies. You can see again just where their national norm rank is. One of the differentiators with iReady compared to many other assessment tools is that it does provide criterion reference data as well as norm reference data. And what that means is really you're able to see at the student level how they're doing in comparison to their peers across the country. How is a fifth grader doing compared to other fifth graders? But also, how are they doing against fifth grade standards? Coming out of the pandemic, we know that the gaps are larger than they ever have been. So if a student is doing well compared to their normative peers that are all potentially 1 or 2 grade levels below, that's one lens or that's one perspective. But just as important is, how are they doing compared to their standards? So with iReady through one platform, teachers are able to get both of those perspectives, which gives again, just a much broader introspective look into how the students perform. One of the other components of iReady that is different is that we also provide a stretch growth target. So every student is going to have a stretch growth as well as a typical growth target. Typical growth is basically a year's growth in a year's time. For students that are below grade level, unfortunately, that's never going to close the gap. We created an aspirational target, which is our stretch growth target, which is really designed to close that achievement gap, get students back on the path to proficiency. And again, this is all based off of normative data from 13 million students. So this is something that's recalibrated every year. Every student is going to have a unique typical growth target as well as a stretch growth target. And again, being able to see that right within the platform itself. Next slide, please. One of the other key components of iReady is that it also provides resources at the teacher's fingertips. So immediately you have a class of 30 students, they take the assessment, teachers will be able to analyze data, look and see the results, how they're doing within each one of those domains. But even more importantly, there's going to be resources readily available tied to groups of students as well as individual students. So it eliminates the need for that fifth grade teacher who may not necessarily have the skill set to teach a foundational skill like phonemic awareness, which is normally taught in kindergarten through second grade. They'll now have access immediately to resources, lesson plans, activities that are all built into the system itself. Just a click and they're able to go right into those lesson plans and activities right in the platform itself. Next slide, please. One of the other components that, as an organization, Curriculum Associates is very focused on is student agency and getting students to own their data, really become involved in a data culture. We are not about, let's test in the fall, let's test in the winter, let's test in the spring. It's all about how do we learn. It's an ongoing journey. The data supports that journey, and there's lots of supports embedded into the system. This is just one example of doing data chats with students. We have districts all across Southeast Michigan that are doing data chats with kindergartners all the way up to middle and high school level students. And again, those supports are all embedded right into the platform. Next, please. Just an example here, looking at year-to-date growth. This would be an example of a student who's taken 3 different diagnostic assessments. Similar to like what you're doing now with your benchmark assessment in the fall, midwinter, and then in the spring. In one report, you're able to see how the student has progressed, how they're doing towards the typical as well as their stretch growth targets, and then really looking at did they meet or exceed what that typical or stretch growth target is. Next slide, please. Again, just some instructional grouping. So feedback from educators that we've gotten over the years is that if we can automatically group students based on how they perform on the assessment, that again is taking a lift off of the educator in the classroom and giving them more time, more instructional time. by us creating those groups based on their performance on that assessment. So you can see in this report across the top, you've got different groupings. Each one of those groupings has different instructional supports depending upon how those students perform. And again, this is all done once they take that assessment. This is a report that's readily available for all teachers to be able to access. Next slide, please. Just some examples of what those reports would look like. It's really showing where a student is having some success. Great sentence starters, conversation starters for parent-teacher conferences. Here are some can-dos, what your student is capable of doing. Here are some next steps for instruction. And oh, by the way, here are some tools for instruction right here, some printable PDFs that teachers didn't have immediate access to. Next slide, please. Just some examples of what those lesson plans are. These are all teacher-facing, so they're not just worksheets or copyable assignments, if you will, for students. These are actual vetted lesson plans. They cover kindergarten through 8th grade skills in both math and reading. Again, they're all prescriptive based on how the student performs on that assessment. This particular example, I think it's giving us a couple different ways to teach a particular concept. I can't quite see all the detail from here. It'll give you an estimated time for that lesson. So they're again very easy to use for if it's a coach, a paraprofessional, literacy coach, or that classroom teacher who may be doing some small group or whole class instruction. Next slide, please. The other piece that we talked about is really looking at that progress towards typical growth, how those students are performing. You're going to get those placement levels, both from a district level, from an administrative level, at the building. Building principals will have access to that data. Classroom teacher, they'll certainly be able to see their information, down to that student level. Next slide, please. And one of the cornerstones of Curriculum Associates and iReady is our partnership that we have with districts. My role as the education sales consultant, I work with 7 counties here in Southeast Michigan. Behind me, we have, on average, a 6-to-1 ratio of service partners. That's everything from tech support to our professional development specialists to our data analytics and research team. They're really the differentiator compared to a lot of other K-12 technology companies in that it's not just we're going to offer a product to you, we're going to come in, here's how you sign in, here's the platform, good luck. There's a lot of back and forth. We're constantly in communication with our districts that we partner with. And this is just one of those examples of our account management team. Certainly professional development is part of not only a pilot, but certainly a full implementation. We would be in partnership with the district in developing that full PD plan to support our educators. And PD, as with many other resources that you likely implement, is an ongoing journey. So we have a path for new users versus practicing users versus our more advanced users. We have some districts here in Metro Detroit that are going on their 8th or 9th year of partnering with us with iReady, and we're still doing professional learning with their building leaders, certainly new hired teachers coming in. It's something that continues to evolve as the product evolves, and that's part of the partnership should you choose to partner with Curriculum Associates in the iReady. Next slide, please. See their potential and your impact. One of our many taglines, if you will. Certainly open to any questions. I think I saw a few of you flipping through, so it looks like you do have a copy of this presentation. And I know Kelly also provided just kind of a 4 or 5 page brochure that highlights some of the other features of iReady. One thing to call to attention on that is on the very back page. It's really just a checklist of all of the different types of things that iReady can do for you. Everything from progress monitoring to dyslexia screener, that benchmark assessment, the universal screener, some of those instructional supports. So it is really an ecosystem, if you will, that can really tie that assessment component to your instructional components. Thank you.
Do you have something you want, if the board has questions too? Okay. My question would be for you, Dr. Finney, and I'm just going to go right for it. What program do we currently have that's comparable to this, and is this something that
we currently have NWEA, and yes, this is definitely something that our teachers want. This was actually brought to us by Mr. Zaja. Part D teachers expressed interest, and that's when the other buildings as well as the middle school stated that they were really interested. So right now, from what we have surveyed, we have 21 teachers that would like to utilize this. And I know speaking with Marcy tonight, she said teachers are really on board in her view.
Okay, thank you. Because I guess, like in working with other districts and other capacities, I hear a lot about iReady, and I can see that it can do a lot, but sometimes I wonder, like from a utilization management point, like how much of it is going to be used by our teachers. That would be my question. Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Trustee Beltowski, then we'll do Secretary Reynolds.
I have a couple of questions. How does iReady, you can answer this question, differ from Star Renaissance?
The biggest difference between NWA and the other benchmark assessments is that it has an embedded instructional component. It also provides criterion and norm reference data, plus the overall interface, the reports, the feedback we get from educators that have migrated from those other platforms, is that this is a much more user-friendly interface dashboard component for the educator to use.
I have to say, as someone who uses Star Renaissance, this looks much nicer. My other question, if I may,
Yes.
is would this replace the NWEA?
Next year, the state requires us to have a benchmark assessment. So since we're piloting, we still have to have the state required benchmark assessment. So we're going to keep NWEA this year, but then next year, if this is what teachers choose, then yes, we will move to iReady.
Okay, and then my next question for the gentleman. So looking at the data when you're giving the data reports. So what is the baseline? So my understanding is that anybody who's 50% at 50% is the norm, and anybody above 50% is above average, and anybody below the 50%. And that when we're looking at data, that somebody has to be the lowest and somebody has to be the highest. Nobody is 100%. So does iReady kind of, is that the same thing? So like as parents are looking at reports, that's the other thing. Do parents get reports?
There is a handful of parent reports. There isn't a, yes.
Okay, so parents get reports. Just so do you understand where my thing is with iReady's report, they would have that understanding. It would be laid out for them that 50% is the norm. It's not,
Yes, and there's a couple of different components to that. And this comes back to the criterion versus norm reference data.
Okay.
So at the midpoint of the year, when we're doing a data review, and they do a data review with the district, the expectation is that students will have that 50% of their typical growth because it's the middle of the year. At the end of the year, 100% of their typical growth is where we'd like to see those students. There's going to be students that are definitely less than that. You may have students that are at 200 or 300% of typical growth. When looking at the data in aggregate, it is looking at that median score, if you will. So you got 100 students, and you got one at 150, and you have one at 72.
You would do this 3 times a year?
That is, I would say that's the normal, is the beginning, mid, and end of the year, yes.
Okay, and then Dr. Finney, looking at that, you take the assessment 3 times, but the overall grade growth, do you go fall to spring or fall to fall?
Fall to spring.
Fall to spring. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Secretary Reynolds, you're acknowledged.
My first question is, for the information, is it disaggregated by race? Can it be?
We do have demographic filters that
Okay.
include race, they include economically disadvantaged, EL populations, Hispanic, basically whatever, there's certain subcategories that the state requires reporting out on that is embedded into the platform. Yes,
Okay, and you have one for special education and like our low income students?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then my next question is, I think for Dr. Finney, is NWEA going to stay at the high school then, or are you proposing a separate assessment system for K-8 and then high school will still have NWEA?
High school doesn't have NWA right now. They don't have a benchmark assessment.
Thank you. Amazing. Next thing for the 1 year that you're piloting this for, will the kids have 6 assessments, 3 with this company and 3 with NWVA? Like,
That's
so it'll
something
take
we have
6.
to talk about with the teacher, but definitely the 3 with NWBA because that's required by the state. So when we meet as a pilot group, we can discuss whether we just have fall and a spring, or would we like to have all 3? But definitely we'll have 2.
Would you be able to follow up with us on that? I'm just worried about them taking 6 tests. It's like really stressful on the kids to take those tests, the 3 that they already have to take. So I'm worried about the extra testing. That was it. Oh no, one more thing. The accommodations for the extra tests for the pilot year, for the special education children, are there accommodations going to be put in place for them to take the extra test? Because I know we struggle with getting them support with just even doing the NWEA test. So now with this and then another set of tests, will we have the right supports in place for our children who have IEPs?
Within the platform itself, we do have accommodations, things like screen readers and some audio supports. How that is, I'm not sure if special education has been identified as part of the pilot or not, but we do have an entire document and some guidance in utilizing the accommodations features within our kids.
Okay, so could special education be a part of the pilot? Because I think that's one of the hugest areas where we need data on. So I want to make sure it's a part of the pilot program, but I also want to make sure we have the right accommodations for the students to be able to do all of these tests. But thank you for the presentation.
Any other questions from the board? First time board members, and then Trustee Bosowski, I see your hand raised again. Vice President Wall?
Yes, a couple questions. The first one I want to ask is on the back of the brochure, it gives all the different possibilities for the assessment and the learning. I realize with some software programs, just in the real world, sometimes you have to pay more to get different things. Is it one set fee, you get all of these features, or is it you get certain with the basic service costs and extended costs, you get more features? How does that work?
So as you look at the iReady assessment column, those are all part of the iReady assessment suite. So for a flat rate, you get access to all of those components. I will say that I don't know of any district that uses every single line item that's on there. It just depends on what their needs are. With iReady, there are on average probably 8 to 10 updates that are done throughout the course of the school year. That could be a report enhancement, that could be a new feature, a variety of things, and it's all based on feedback from educators. So things like just looking at progress monitoring, looking at the data for subgroups that has been mentioned already. I mean, those are features that have been embedded into the platform as a result of feedback from our educators. So with the iReady assessment, that's all built into that. The iReady learning, there are a couple of different components that are there that individualize instruction. We refer to that as iReady personalized instruction. And then there's also, actually it doesn't even reference the teacher toolbox. So no, the only other extra, if you will, would be what's referred to as iReady teacher toolbox, which is not part of any of our conversation on the brochure that you're looking at.
So the iReady assessment and iReady learning, those both would be part of the cost, I guess we say.
Yep, that's what we proposed as the pilot, and then the site license for each building would include both of those components. Yes.
Okay. And then the other question I wanted to ask is there any way that we would, this you got our idea, is there any way we can find out, what are we paying for NWEA, and what would we be for this, what are the cost differences? That would be something to be interesting to ask.
So for iReady, we are paying just for the PD for the pilot. For NWEA, that is correct. Since NWA or benchmark assessments are required by the state of Michigan, they're paid for by the state of Michigan. So we get reimbursed for what we pay for our NWE assessment. So the only thing we're paying for is the teacher's PD.
And is there, I apologize, my last question. Oh, thank you. So we've seen the cost for the pilot. Do we have any idea of what it would be for the actual full program if we went through with it?
We haven't created a full proposal, for 24-25 at this point. I can certainly share, a budgeting proposal as to what that would look like. The iReady assessment is the equivalent of what NWA costs, and it's also eligible for the reimbursement from the state. So we prorate out the assessment piece because the state will pay for that, and then it would just be the instructional cost that would be, the cost to the district.
Does it say the NWEA too? Or
NWA, we don't have the instructional part. That's why we're really interested in iReady. iReady is just the assessment. Excuse me, NWA is just the assessment.
So with the testing with either, we would get reimbursed with that. It's just the instructional cost. NWEA, we don't have any instruction costs, but we would with iReady.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Does that complete your questions, Vice President Wong?
Yeah, I'm out of voice.
All right. Trustee Bilkowski?
So, Dr. Finney, in comparison, the NWEA to the iReady assessment, what is the average time to take the NWEA for a second grader?
I do not know the answer. I'm going to know. I asked if Claudia or Marcy, do you know the answer to that?
What was the question?
What is the average time for, let's say, a second grader to take the NWEA? Okay, and so then
Test, half hour for male, half hour for female.
okay, the other question I have is, with the iReady, because the data is collected online, I'm sure with the NWEA too, I'm not sure, but there's a window of time that it's open, so you can take the assessment anytime between, let's say, October 1st and October 29th. We'll just throw those dates out there. So it can be done at the teacher and student's pace, correct, the iReady? And then does the iReady have like a timer when they're taking too long on a question? It doesn't give them the little timer flash to let them know that they're running out of time on that question?
It's not a time test. So, as you mentioned, there's a testing window, so that October 1st to October 29th. And we would give some guidance as to, K2, maybe that's done over the course of 3 or 4 settings throughout, a 2-week period. So it's only 10 minutes at a time rather than a 5-year-old sitting for 30 or 45 minutes going through a math assessment versus a middle school student where maybe they are doing that, let's say.
Right. The thing I'm asking is because it is, if you answer the question correctly, the questions get harder. If you answer it incorrectly, then the questions get easier until you go. But there's no time on the question, like they're taking too long to answer the question.
There's no time limit. You're able to see after the fact, or the teacher can monitor while they're on the test to say, Johnny, Susie, you're taking, part of it is the expectation that the teacher sets that with an adaptive test, they should get 50% correct and 50% incorrect. That's by design. And it's just part of that messaging to students is you're a high-performing student, you're a perfectionist, you want to get everything right, but there's going to be a point where you just need to move on. You move on to that next question. Conversely, we also have rush times. So the student is just clicking away and not paying attention at all. The teacher will also get an alert saying, this is mathematically impossible that they finish this test in 7 minutes. You're going to need to retest the student. So a lot of that is part of our PD that we work with classroom teachers, making sure that they're providing that information to the students, setting those expectations. We have PowerPoints, we have videos that they can show that kind of make it fun for the students. Some of the feedback that we often get is that the students don't feel like this is a testing event like they normally do with something like MSTEP. It's just, okay, we're going to do iReady today, and they come in, they log in, and it's public. We're going to go through these questions and answer them, and then the next day I'm going to get my instruction back, and I'm going to work on some lessons.
Okay, thank you. I have one other question, that has to do with, so when students are taking the NWEA, so I've never had to take the iReady, saw anybody take it. So they're sitting down, they have to, with the NWA, do they have a time that they have to finish it within a certain amount of time? Is it a timed test? It's not timed test? Okay. Are students able to repeat questions, have questions repeated on the NWA?
Repeat as far as someone read to them or redo a question.
So, for example, for my assessment, the assessment that I use, it will say, look at the 3 words. Pick the word that starts with C. And then, they'll be staring at it for a minute, and then there's a button that they can push, and it repeats the question. Yes. Okay, so it does that with iReady?
Depending on the domain and the content area, there are audio supports where it has a speaker icon. They can click on that speaker to reread the question or reread the answers.
Okay. With all due respect, I would like for us to move on, so I will give it to any other board member who has not had an opportunity to speak, but I would ask limited to 1 or 2 questions, and then we'll move forward. Trustee Abasado?
Dr. Phoenix, a question for you. So if we decide to pilot this program, are we going to do the testing for the NWEA first, and then have that iReady test for piloting afterwards, or what's the plan?
We're going to discuss that once the board makes a decision whether we can pilot, then we'll meet as a pilot group and decide what it will look like for the year, and then we can update you on what they decide.
Okay, so the only concern with that is if they do one versus a pilot one, so they might, if they like the news get out as a pilot program, they might not take it as serious. The data is going to be skewed at that point.
I agree.
So it's good that we're going to have to compare the 2 assessment, but that is a concern of mine that it might actually skew the number, the data.
Valid thought.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board regarding the presentation? Hearing and seeing none. Thank you again to you both. Moving on to letter B, district update, Mr. Kleinman.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a few minutes to update the board and the community on school choice update and the start of PD. So Holly and Carol have been working very hard on our school choice applications. The window is closed. We have 214 school choice applications. We have a number of kindergartens, 71 of those are kindergartners. So we're in the process right now of looking at those applications, and you got to kind of look at class sizes and mirror that with their siblings. And trying to, it's like a Sudoku puzzle, because you got to make sure if you take, a middle schooler who has a kindergarten sibling and all your kindergarten classes are at level, you got to be mindful of that. So we're in that process right now, but certainly a good number of school of choice students that were going in. And Holly and Carol's hiding back there, but they've spent enormous amounts of time working with folks when they come in and processing these applications, and they've really done a good job with that. So a quick update, and then want to talk about the Welcome Back PD. Our goal is to prepare for our staff and our students to have a smooth and welcoming opening for our school year. The administrators, the administrative professional development is August 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of next week. And we're going to focus on professional development in the area of school safety, as well as teaching and learning. And I'm really pleased with this presentation on iReady, because that really gets to the business of teaching and learning and why we're here. So we're going to focus on school safety. We have people coming in that are going to speak to us in regards to threat assessment. We're also going to look at Standards for Success. That's a software program that principals use and teachers use, and it follows them through the steps of the evaluation process. And then we, Mrs. Finney, I think she just stepped out, but she's been working hard on setting up 2 days of professional learning communities. And I think that's going to be key to really focusing on the teaching and learning that's taking place in the district. So we've got some PLC work going on for that time, and that'll be brought to us by Solution Tree. And so we're pretty excited about that whole package. And then, of course, our teachers and our teachers come back on September 5th. That's a full day PD on that day. And the focus of that is going to be ALICE Safe School Training. So Mrs. Howard has set up to have a gentleman come in and review all of our safety protocols with Alice. And then in the afternoon on that day, it's building staff meetings. Then the next 3 days are half-day PD. And that time is built in for mandated state programs that we have to go through, as well as some more PLC work. And I know that secondary level, Mrs. Spinney's going to be working with the math folks on looking at some math curriculum issues. And then there's some built-in time already in the contract for teachers' work time. So then the first day of schools for the students, September 6th, that's always an exciting time for everybody. So again, our goal is to make sure that we have a smooth opening for both administrators, teachers, support staff, students, and parents. So that's what we're working towards.
Thank you, Mr. Kleinhans. Are there any questions from the board? Trustee Belkowski, your knowledge.
Thank you. Mr. Kleinmans, I'm just wondering, with the professional development maybe moving forward, this is all very good, but for our administrative assistants, maybe some professional development for them on maybe software updates, using the computer. Also, during our board retreat from our MASB, it was recommended that, our school administrative assistants, maybe get some sort of professional development on customer service, because they are the first faces that you see when you walk into a building, and making sure that, they're fully trained in those types of things. So maybe giving the administrative assistants some professional development that is useful and pertinent to their jobs.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? I do have one, Mark, and then I'll give it to you, Vice President Wall. So hypothetically speaking, if a teacher or staff person is not available for the professional development trainings, is there a makeup day, or what happens?
So that's a great question. We have to provide training for staff by law, right? So, and they have to get so many professional development hours. So especially on that opening day with staff members on the ALICE protocol. So if a staff member's not there, we're going to have to set up a session to revisit with those folks, because we want to make sure that everyone is up to date on all of the protocols. If we do have an issue, so that's something that we work individually with the principals.
Thank you very much. Vice President Wall, your knowledge?
So my question is, when it comes to, if I talk here, I'll be really loud. Okay. No, I just wanted to know, after all these professional days and that, is there any way we can maybe just get a general summary of how they all went, and just
Yep, definitely. We can add it to a board agenda.
just a general update, and that's what I just would like to see.
I'll make a note.
Does the board as a whole want to see that, a summary of how the PD days went? All right, hearing seen most of the yeses from the board. Thank you for that. Okay, on to certified staff appointments, and I'm sorry, this is all under superintendent's recommendations. I'm under certified staff appointments, exhibit number 2. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the following certified staff appointments, and we have a long list, so please bear with me, which is a good thing, in my opinion. We have Brianna Kaufman, position Bedford 5th grade, start date September 5th of 2023. We have Amy Oldry, Madison GS, Rose Manty. She is the early childhood program teacher at Pope with a start date of September 5th, 2023. Catherine Rickson, OW Best 8th grade science, September 5th, 2023. Ashley McDonough, Pope 4th grade, September 5th, 2023. Alex Lane, Bedford Speech and Language, September 5th, 2023. Catherine Hurst, OW Best ELA, September 5th, 2023. Renee Schlatt, Party 5th grade, September 5th, 2023. Andy Kwame, Annapolis Graphic Arts, September 5th, 2023. Amanda Simon, and the asterisks do reflect that they are hired under third-party contractors. District-wide OT, September 5th, 2023. Julie Fargo, also with asterisk. Polk Speech and Language, September 5th, 2023. Jatwan Barksdale, also with the asterisk. Annapolis Special Education, September 5th, 2023. And last, Keith Pitts, also with the asterisk. Polk Special Education, September 5th, 2023. Is there a motion? So moved by trustee Abasala. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Vice President Wall. Is there a discussion? Secretary Williams, your acknowledge.
I just wanted to state that I did want to thank our acting superintendent for getting back to me so quickly, but I did want to note that there will potentially be an LOU or an LOA to address contract language related to the third-party contractors.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct. We did have a discussion about that, and we're not done yet. So we're not done in terms of this hiring process as FYI, but yes, we did talk about that, and so that's in the works. Yep. And we're not done hiring, so we're still hammering. And Claudia is sitting right out there. She did a lot of this work, so thank you, Claudia. Dr. Porcelli, thank you.
Is there any other discussion from the board? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nasir?
Yes.
Trustee Sterlini?
Yes.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Windlass, yes. Trustee Abasala?
Yes.
Trustee Beltowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Yes. Motion. Testing. Motion carries. Letter B, non-certified staff appointments, exhibit number 3. Be resolved that the Board of Education approves the following non-certified staff appointments. We have Susan Surma, Executive Assistant to the Superintendent and Board of Education with a start date of August 21st, 2023. Is there a motion? So moved by, I didn't hear. Trustee Abasala. Is there support? Supported by Trustee Beltowski. Is there discussion? Okay, I'll defer to Mark Kleinhans.
Very good. So we're excited to bring Sue on board. Unanimous choice by the interview folks, the interview committee. She brings a wealth of experience as an administrative assistant in the medical field, Detroit Medical Center. Her last position, she was the administrative assistant to the CEO, COO, and CFO to the DMC Medical Group, and also their office manager. She was the liaison between her department and about 350 physicians. So she's got good skills. Again, highly recommended, and so we're excited to bring her aboard.
Is there any other discussion from the board? Vice President Wall?
Okay. I'm just going to have to say the name does sound familiar to someone I know, so I'm going to have to abstain from voting, just to make sure.
Any other discussion from the board? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nasir?
Yes.
Trustee Sterlini?
Yes.
Trustee Wall? Trustee Windlass, yes. Trustee Abasala?
Yes.
Trustee Beltowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Yes, motion carries. Just take a brief moment to congratulate all of our newly appointed non-certified and certified staff. We welcome you to the D7 district. On to letter C, non-certified staff resignations, exhibit number 4. Be it resolved. Carol, are you here? Okay. I'll speak as loudly as I can. Okay. I used to be a cheerleader. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the following non-certified staff resignations. We have Donna Davis, Administrative Assistant to the Assistant Superintendent, effective date 8/25/2023. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Beltowski, supported by Trustee Abasala. Is there a discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee?
I apologize, Secretary Williams. Mark, wanted to say something?
Yeah, so Donna's been with the district for 12 years. You've gotten to know Donna, and I've gotten to know her, and just she's a wonderful person. She's very helpful. She certainly assisted me. I would recommend that everybody vote no and bring her back to work. I can't do that. But she's just a wonderful, kind person. She's going to be missed greatly, and we certainly wish her the best of luck.
Any other discussion from the board? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nasir?
Yes.
Trustee Sterlini?
Yes.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Windlass, yes. Trustee Abasala?
Yes.
Trustee Beltowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Yes, motion carries. To Donna, on behalf of the board, we thank you so much for your years of service to our district, and we wish to letter B, Studies Weekly Subscription, Exhibit number 5 in the board's packets. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the Studies Weekly Subscription for the 4th grades at Bedford Elementary and Pardee Elementary for the 2023-24 school year at a cost to the district of $10,468.65. Monies will be derived from general fund as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by trustee Nasser. Is there support? Support. Supported by trustee Beltowski. Is there discussion? Secretary Winless.
I just wanted to say that I wanted to see Polk added to this so that all of the schools are having the same curriculum and that the administration was working on that. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. Mark, would you like to follow up?
You bet. Thank you. That's a very good point. And Dr. Porchall is here in regards to this. So you may see this come back for Polk, but as you know, Dr. Porchall was in this seat all last year. So she needs time to get with her staff to kind of, work this through. Where's it at? What direction do we want to go? So you may see this come back, but I do appreciate that, that comment, because we certainly do want to offer opportunities to all of our students. Dr. Porchall just needs some time with her staff.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the board? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nasir?
Yes.
Trustee Sterling?
No.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Willis, no. Trustee Abusala?
Yes.
Trustee Beltowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Yes. Motion carries. Letter E, addition of 2 EL teaching positions. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the addition of 2 EL teaching positions, 1 elementary and 1 secondary. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by trustee Abusala. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Vice President Wall. Is there discussion? I deferred it to Mark on this.
Yeah, I can just add, this is from the presentation that Mrs. Harmon did in our last meeting, the July 19th meeting, in her end of the year EL report. These 2 additions, and with school starting in short order here, it's going to be a heavy lift to get these positions filled. They're difficult, but if this does pass, we'll go to work on them, get them posted, and do the best we can. But this is based on the state recommendations of staffing, if you recall our presentation, and students, and primarily what drives this is the amount of time that these teachers work with the students. The recommendation is more time than what we are doing, so this will help us get it more in line with that program.
Is there any discussion from the board? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nasir?
Yes.
Trustee Sterling?
Yes.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Willis, yes. Trustee Abusala?
Yes.
Trustee Beltowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Yes. Motion carries. Letter F, appointment of the Pardee principal, exhibit number 6. Be it resolved that the Board of Education appoints Donald Lipinski as principal of Pardee Elementary. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Wall, supported by Secretary Winless. Is there discussion? Roll call. Oh, Mark?
I'll just add, Don's coming to us with a bachelor's in elementary education from Adrian College, a master's in administration from Wayne State. He's been a teacher, administrator in both elementary and middle school. Again, I highly recommend it from the interview committee. Great recommendations, and we want to welcome Don to our school district.
Okay. Any other discussion? Vice Secretary Winless.
I just want to say I was on my walk in the community earlier today and I got to meet him by mistake at Pardee earlier, so welcome to the district.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Nasir?
Yes.
Trustee Sterling?
Yes.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Willis, yes. Trustee Abusala? Trustee Beltowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Yes, motion carries, and on behalf of the board, we welcome you, Donald Lipinski, to the D7 family as our new principal of Pardee Elementary. Very nice. Okay, letter G, appointment and contract approval of Director of Technology, which is exhibit number 7 in your packets. Be resolved that the Board of Education appoints and approves the contract of Shaheen Al Harbley, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, Director of Technology, pending HR approval in accordance with the terms and conditions of the contract with grammatical changes on the title. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by trustee Nasser. Is there support? Supported by trustee Abu Salah. Is there discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee
Oh, I apologize. I'm moving too fast. Mark has something.
So I just wanted to take 2 seconds to talk about Shaheen a little bit, and he is here in the audience, so maybe we can have him come up and introduce himself. But he's finishing his bachelor's in Informational Management Systems, University of Michigan. He has a background in business, managing IT systems. In his letter that I did for you guys, you can see his skills. I can't even pronounce half those things, let alone figure out what all these systems do. So, but I did want to include that in there. He has a wealth of experience, mad skill set, which I say I think is going to be an excellent addition to the staff. And his very first day, he brought food for all of us. So hire him. I mean, no. He's going to be a great hire.
All right, let's put this to a vote, and then we will see if Mr. Shaheen would like to come up. Roll call, please.
Trustee Sterling?
Yes.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Willis? Yes. Trustee Abu Salah?
Yes.
Trustee Botowski?
Yes.
Trustee Nasser?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Yes. Motion carries. Mr. Al Harbley, would you like to come up? Please let me know if I'm mispronouncing it.
Good evening, esteemed members of the board.
Shaheen, you got to speak right into it.
Sure. I'm very excited to be here with all of you. I have a future-focused vision for the technology experience for our students and staff. I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
All right, thank you and welcome aboard. On to letter H, appointment of PAC representative, which is exhibit number 8. Be it resolved that the Board of Education appoints. Who are we appointed? Aisha Brazil as the 2023-24 Dearborn Heights School District number 7 Wayne Risa PAC parent. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Treasurer Sterlini, supported by Secretary Windlass. Is there a discussion? Secretary Windlass.
I just wanted to add that I had a really great conversation with Mark about this, and that we will potentially be having a second PAC rep once we get, I guess, everything on board for the fall semester. Well, I'm thinking college for the fall, for the fall season of school.
Season of school. Mark would like to answer that?
Yeah, so thank you for that. So this PAC rep is a 3-year term. Basically what happens, we approve, then it goes to Wayne Risa's Board of Education, then they approve, 3-year term. I did have an opportunity to hold a video conference with Mrs. Brassel, and again, I apologize saying the last name. We really talked about focusing on the PAC rep becoming an advocate for D7 at the county level for special education programming and needs for our students. So great conversation, and so I recommend her, and I put that in the letter.
All right. Any other discussion from the board? Secretary Windlass?
I just also wanted to thank Ms. Brazil for all her service to the district for all the years she's already been doing PAC work.
All right. Any other discussion from the board? Roll call, please.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Willis? Yes. Trustee Abu Salah?
Yes.
Trustee Botowski?
Yes.
Trustee Nasser?
Yes.
Trustee Sterlini?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Yes. Motion carries. We welcome you, Aisha Brazil, being reappointed as our PAC rep. And we look forward to the work that you will do in collaboration with our special education director and the department. We appreciate you. On to letter I, Citizens Advisory Committee. Be it resolved that the Board of Education creates the Citizens Advisory Committee, whose purpose is to put forth recommendations to the superintendent as outlined in policy 9140 regarding the programmatic improvements in areas related to health and wellness for the entire D7 school community, pending review by legal counsel. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved by trustee Nasser. Is there support?
Support.
supported by trustee Beltowski. Is there discussion? Secretary Reynolds?
I emailed about this agenda item too. I didn't feel like what was put in the email really encompassed what we talked about at the meeting that we had about this, because I really specifically remember drilling into and wanting a separate committee that was going to address the topic of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging.
Okay. Does that complete your statement?
It was more of a question because the way it's being presented is not the way we talked about it at the table.
Sure. I can elaborate to that, and thank you, Secretary Willis, for highlighting that. So in our study session, we had a very lengthy discussion as a board with administration to talk about what we want the Citizens Advisory Committee to be, if indeed we wanted it. And what we took away from that is the topics fall under health and safety as an umbrella, and that we wanted it to be two separate committees. But the initial plan was to adopt the Citizens Advisory Committee, and in the resolution it could state health and safety. And then once we adopt it, if the board chooses to, then we will move forward with the two subcommittees to work on either health and safety, health as one subcommittee and safety as the other. So I think we're saying two of the same things. I just think that the board wanted me, or we decided as a board to create and adopt the committee first, and then structure it once we put out the interest letter, we say what we want them to know and do in the interest letter, and then once those committees are created, those will be the assignments under health and wellness.
Yeah, that was not what my intent was when I was talking. I specifically wanted to make it clear that it was separate committees, and I didn't want it to be put out like where it's going to be 6 to 10 people, and then they're put on this. I wanted people who are like, if it's going to be a mental health committee, I wanted people who are passionate about mental health service on that committee. And then if it's DEI&B, I wanted people who specialize in that to serve on that committee. I didn't want it to be, and I thought we had a consensus as we left the table, to be a committee where there would be 6 to 10 people, and then there would be tasked with all of these different important hot topics in the district, rather it would be specific what they're working on, and they would know before they put their hat in the ring what exactly they're doing.
And I think what I understood from the board is that once I put out the interest letter, that it will specify exactly what you were saying. But I can lift it up to the board to be able to gain a better understanding of that, so we can make this right. To the board, Treasurer Sterling.
So I understand it the way Leslie is kind of understanding it. So I was confused because it says 6 to 10 people. I thought it was going to be 3 to 5 people, and we were going to do, like she said, the separate committees. Putting it out there as an interest out there to see who wants to join the board, we have to specify this committee is for this committee is for that. Just a blanket statement, you're going to just get anybody, you're not going to get the right people. And also, some of the items you mentioned, the criteria, we didn't even talk about that. It was about reporting, and you have to have excellent communication skills. I don't have excellent communication skills, but I don't want people to be stifled on wanting to join a committee because they think they need to have a bachelor's degree to join the committee. So that part of it, it should be whoever's passionate about something, as she said. If it's a mental health issue and they're gung-ho about it, then that's the committee they should go for. So am I making sense? But I'm in agreement with what she said. It should be the two committees.
I'll elaborate to that. The purpose of today was to establish the Citizens Advisory Committee. The interest letter, which has not been posted yet, that I sent to all you guys as a draft for you to be able to add input, right, is what I am still waiting on input from. Secretary Willis did give me input. I had not heard any other input from anyone else. That is the draft interest letter language, not something that is ready to go out yet. So again, if I misunderstood what should be presented in this resolution today, we can table it, we can bring it back. However, what I understood is that we want to create an umbrella Citizens Advisory Committee to get it going. And then with the interest letter, be very specific, as to what we want these chosen candidates to do. And that's why in the language it says the committee with 2 separate subcommittees. It says it in the language that is in draft form.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because you said one committee would be health and one committee would be safety. Those weren't the 2 committees we came up with when we left the table. We had 4 things at first, and then we condensed them into 2 things.
We did, because we said safety can look like vaping. Well, health could look like vaping. It could look like, I'll just put it out there, sex on the premises. It could be mental health. It can be other types of health. We said safety can look like bullying, could look like active shooter things. So that's why we comprise it under those 2 subcommittees.
No, so we had agreed on DEI and B being one of the 2 things that we were starting with. We were going to do health as an umbrella and encompass everything that you're saying, but DEI and B was supposed to be the second one.
Okay.
Because that's something that we've been waiting for years in the district as well.
Okay.
So it was supposed to be those 2 we were starting with, and then we can come back in maybe 6 months or whenever they're done with the work for those 2 first committees to talk about other topics in the district that we want to start. So I just want to make sure that when we approve it today, I don't want to put it back to the drawing board or the latest. I just want to make sure that DEI and B is the second committee.
Okay, yeah. And we can still work on the interest letter to make it specific, because that's still in draft form. Again, I thought the purpose for today was to adopt the committee. Okay. Trustee Gotowski?
So my understanding reading this is to adopt the committee. I agree with Ms. Swinless in what she was saying as, yes, we were going to do health and safety, but under health we were going to, because we decided to include the DEI, that was going to be one of the first subcommittees, mental health and then the DEIB. Treasurer Sterlini, we did give a list of things. We did talk about a list of qualifications that we were looking at. I remember specifically because we were talking about, we said good something or other, and we were like, what does good mean? And we scratched that, we said that it was subjective. So we did go over that list of, having communication skills.
Yeah, there is still time to let me know essentially what we want this interest letter to look like. But again, that is what my takeaway was from what I thought was consensus. And we did say there are certain things that we want these people to be aware of and know how to do. Not that they have to be experts, but that is what it takes to serve on the committee. But we still have time. And I would like to hear back from all of the board members who haven't spoken about, is that interest letter what we wanted to reflect? Secretary Williams?
Are we clear on that only 2 committees though, like for the vote today?
Again, reiterate that for the board so I can understand is there consensus for those 2 subcommittees. Because I want to be very specific in the interest letter.
Well, Trustee Osawa wasn't there, so but Mary Beth already spoke, so did Trustee Sterlini, so I don't know if Trustee Nassar remembers the 2.
I'll defer to Vice President Wall, his hand is raised, and then we'll go to you, Trustee Nassar.
So one thing I remember from that study session was that we talked about having 2 different citizen committees. And one of the things that was also brought up about just starting with 1 and not having 2 at one time, and this is why I want to get clarification now before I vote. Are we still, was this still the consensus of to start with 1 committee meeting, or 1 committee, citizen committee first, and then pursue? I just want to re-verify that, that's all. Just one citizen committee actively working right now with Mr. Kleinhans and that, and not necessarily 2, so I just want to just re-verify that before I make a vote.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Start with 1, because we don't want to overload the administration with being able to get this work off the ground. And we also said we wanted to take a look at any survey data that's out there to help drive this. So it's not bringing in individual emotions and motives. We really wanted to get a pulse of what our students in our district need. Okay?
Thank you.
We got consensus on that. And then Trustee Nassar.
Exactly what Mr. Wall had said is exactly how I remember it.
Okay, the one committee to get us going, we get the data pulled in, then we go with the next one.
Right, but the two committees are the health and safety or health and wellness and the DEIB. And it doesn't matter which one the administration feels is based on the survey results, whichever one the administration feels is the most pertinent to start with, that will be the first committee. But the second committee will be started. I need to make sure that it's clear what the two committees are. That's what I was asking. Is everybody remember that the first committee was like health and safety or health and wellness, and the second committee was diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging.
Thank you for clarifying. I'm hearing consensus. Yes, I'm hearing consensus, and that will be explicitly reflected in the interest letter. Okay. Treasurer Serlini.
So when we, after we get this all squared away, can we announce it at the board meeting? So, because not everyone sees things online, so we're ready to go. We announce it at the board meeting. Anyone has an interest of these committees, and then we can post it.
Absolutely. And we also need to run it by legal to make sure that it is what it needs to be and that we're free from liability and not missing out on things. So we did send some ideas to Jeremy. We haven't heard back from him. So we still do have time to make that interest letter the way we need it to be. And Treasurer Serlini, I do agree, we'll verbally announce it and then we will put it on our social media and our website. You're welcome. Roll call, please.
Trustee Nassar?
Yes.
Trustee Serlini?
Yes.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Willis, yes. Trustee Abdusala?
Yes.
Trustee Beltowski?
Yes.
Trustee Gayton?
Yes. Motion carries. Is there any old business to come before the board? Secretary Willis?
I sent an email about the meeting locations for the rest of the time that it's going to be hot, on whether we're going to be able to do it in OW Best cafeteria or at Holt, because there's no air conditioning here. And I do remember us talking about that at the January meeting, that the hotter meetings, we would move them so the audience wouldn't be with no heat. I mean, no air. All of us would be with no air.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up again. It's something I'll definitely work faster than we can do. Okay. Is there any other old business to come before the board? Okay, on to district points of pride, Mr. Kleinhans.
Yeah, I just want to say we had got a mic. I don't have to yell. So construction's moving along, pretty excited about all the work, and I know that there's a lot of board members that have spent a lot of time, and community members, in seeing all these construction projects through. So I think that's a huge points of pride for us, and also for Jason's crew, our maintenance, our custodial. They're working hard to get both the inside and the outside of these buildings ready to roll. It's going to be close. Party, but we're going to get through. Just found that out today, but again, as I had indicated, and I also, I'll wait for kudos on the second one. So just a lot. I think there's a general excitement about kids coming back to our buildings, and I think that it's just a wonderful time of year. So.
Thank you for your district points of pride. On to public comment number 2. Is there any public comment to come before the board? I guess I want to say typically we have the public comment policy in print at the front table, but because we're going through our changes with administrative staff, I wasn't able to get it out there today, so I do apologize. And again, I'll now open the floor to public comment. Good evening, welcome. We hope the mic is ready for you. Please speak directly into the mic if you can.
Is that better? Can you hear me?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Virginia Morgan. Tell you about the lousy sound system in here. After $1 million renovation, we have to watch it pass the microphones back and forth. Write this information down. It's with deep sorrow and much love that the parents of Amanda Marie Greca announced that she passed away yesterday, Tuesday, August the 15th. Her mother was an outstanding and retired parapro in the district, loved and respected by many, and a resident of D7 for over 60 years. Amanda will have visitation rights this Sunday, the 20th, from 1 to 8. I think I have the name of the funeral right. It's Solosy. It's on 4th Street in Lincoln Park. The service will be held on Monday morning, at 9:30 at the St. Cyprus Catholic Church on Pennsylvania Road in Riverview, and the graveside will be at Our Lady of Hope Cemetery on Allen Road in Brownstown. I've sort of set up a flower fund, and if anyone would like to donate to the flower fund for Amanda, you can go to the board office, and one of the employees, Carol, has volunteered to collect the money, and then we'll be ordering the flowers. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your public comment. Is there any other public comment to come before the board? Good evening and welcome.
Heather Sanders, is it working?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I can never turn myself. Heather Sanders, 1440 May Street. Just a couple of quick things. I was wondering, I assume because we don't have Eve is why our agenda is not so Eve-ish. So could you give me the spelling for Donald Lipinski for his last name, please? If you want to look for that, do you need a minute?
I will be able to answer any public comment questions at the will of the board under other business.
Okay, no problem. I also wanted to say, this was the first meeting in a long time where there wasn't 1 million staff resignations, and that was really awesome. I hope that our district is moving into a positive direction. It seems to be lately. I'm not sure if that's a collaboration of everybody or having Mark here now, but I will say there's just like this different tone in the district, and it's really awesome. I also wanted to say that Mark had said something about the kids being excited to come back to school, and I just wanted to touch on the fact that I have talked to so many kids recently, and you would not believe how many high school kids are beyond excited because Mr. Millett is back. So my son's graduation party just happened, and that was a lot of the kids' talk. It was like, oh, they can't wait to come back to school because now they know that he's going to be there. So I wanted to also thank the board and Mark for making that decision and doing all that in a timely manner so that the kids could have that chance to be excited about school and not wonder. So I wanted to thank you for that. And I think that was it for me. That was it. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you. Is there any other public comment to come before the board? Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just want to thank Mark again for meeting with me regarding the school safety. We had a great meeting, and it just speaks volume to this district of how much he cares and appreciates. And he sees my vision as far as it comes, and I'm looking forward to working with everybody. And just thank you again. I greatly appreciate it.
I do apologize, just a point of order. Please state your name and any group affiliation. I don't think it was said. If you did, I apologize.
I don't think I did. I'm sorry. Margaret King, Dearborn Heights, Baker Street, Dearborn. So I just want to say that, and thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your public comment. Is there any other public comment to come before the board? Any other public comment to come before the board? Hearing and seeing none, I will close public comment. On to other business. Let's start with board committee updates, and I will start with the Finance Committee, if that is okay, with our newly elected Finance Committee Chair, Treasurer Sterling.
Alright, I'll be fast. This is my first one, so bear with me, everyone. So the Finance Committee, we met on August 9th, called to order at about 5:40. President were myself, Vice President Wall, President Gator, Interim Superintendent Mark Kleinhans, Dr. Gissinger, our business manager. Everyone was present for the meeting. New business, we elected the chair, and I'm the chair. I was nominated as the chair, accepted it, no other choice, right? Thank you. The search is still ongoing for business manager. There's 5 candidates. She went 2 rounds, but the decision was made to continue the search till the right fit was made. Dr. Gissinger has offered to stay on until we find someone, so that's good news. The audit was concluded. They did the audit July 25th, 26th, and 27th. Good news there was no findings in the audit, and we are ahead of the November schedule, so that's really good news. We found that Dr. Gissinger messed with section 97. Its usage is for safety, and we currently have $293,000 available in that. So we're looking to see if we can use that for the school resource officers and whatnot for safety. Dr. Gissinger is working with Dr. Finney and Ivy to assist in additional grants, making sure that they're being applied properly and funneling through the right, getting assessed as they should on the right accounts. Let's see, there's currently $14 million in the general fund, but these monies do not account for all the projects with bills still outstanding. So hopefully we will still maintain a good number there after all these new hires and all that. Let's see, we discussed the possibility of, with the $14 million and whatnot, utilizing money to give to, as a gesture of appreciation to the teachers, finding a way to give some money back to the employees of the district. So we're looking into that. We asked for a breakdown of monies in the virtual learning programs, expense versus revenue. So Dr. Gissinger and Mr. Kleinhans are working on that for the next meeting. There was no old business because that was our first meeting. Public comment was made by we had one person making a public comment. Next meeting is tentative for 10/2. I have to confirm that with Dr. Gissinger. It was supposed to be in September, but I realized I had an appointment that day. Meeting adjourned around 7:25 that night. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Are there any questions from the board on the Finance Committee meeting minutes? Just want to uplift that this committee, for it to be our first meeting, it was very productive. And I think we made the right decision as a board to reconstruct that committee. And I appreciated President of that, Chair of that committee, Treasurer Sterling, for doing a really good job facilitating it. You're welcome. All right, hearing no questions from the board, we will move on to Building and Site.
So the Building and Site meeting was on the 14th, which would have been 2 days ago, Monday. Started at 5:34, and present was myself as the temporary facilitator, Trustee Sterling, Pat Greca, Virginia Morgan, Mark Kleinhans, and Jason Perkins. And the old business to start with was okay, and not present was Ms. Gator, President Gator. Elevator update was one of the first things we talked about. We had the architect from Earsman come in who had different drawings that we wanted to know of options, which included an elevator with one bathroom being modified because of where it was going to be placed. There would automatically need to be the modifications. And the second option was an elevator with 2 bathrooms being modified upstairs, just so that way whoever had the boys and whoever had the girls, that they both would have updated bathrooms and that were ADA compliant. And then the third was an elevator with the above mentioned plus an additional room on the main floor and upper level for extra space. And there was reason for those rooms that when it was selected for that drawing. But due to the cost of the project, the committee has suggested to pause moving forward with the elevator project. Mechanical project updates, Mr. Perkins has informed us that there's a delay getting the RTUs or the rooftop units and plans to have those placed on the roof of the middle school and high school when they do come to be done during either a school break or over a long weekend because there's going to be cranes involved to get those on the roof. So we're looking at the safety of the students. And then once they are on the roof, the work can be done while the students are in school. Mr. Perkins also informed that the boiler will be completed prior to the start of school for the students, so that was great news. We started talking about storage in the gym locks. Basically, the locks that don't have the security features on them, which are a lot of like the double doors, the cafeteria, the gym, and that. And so with that, there's going to be a suggestion in the future for the board to seek bids for the locking mechanisms on that. The next was about the Bedford tennis courts, and with the inquiries of options, and the committee was inquiring on tennis courts being placed on the north end of the field by the Annapolis High School. Anybody who's been in the district for a long time will remember there were tennis courts there way back when, because I remember those, not way back when. The other part was Mr. Kleinhans is going to look into potential, or it's going to look into the cost of the tennis team playing or practicing or playing off-site at this current time. The school sidewalks, we did receive anybody who's in the city knows that the city goes around and checks for bad sidewalks or driveways, and we did get a so-called citation of what ones needed to be fixed, but we haven't heard anything from the city for a while, including like if the city would offer to do the work, even though we'd have to pay for it. By the time it came around the second time, the number pretty much doubled of the number of infractions or ones that need to be repaired. So we did get a cost of what it would be from the city. Mr. Perkins feels that that is a really good price compared to if we're going out to bid, but Mr. Kleinhans is going to see, do we need to seek another bid, or is that something that could be covered under the general fund versus the building and site funds? As for new business, we were talking about the air conditioning in this specific room. The committee would like to require on the cost, and because we have an understanding that TMP has already had a cost approximation, we're going to look to see if we can get that answer prior to determining whether to be pursuing, or would it be something that we would want to pursue with as one of the building and site projects. So more will be updated on that. And then for other business, we had the marquee at the OW Best with regards to the lighting. Mr. Perkins informed we're still waiting for a part to be delivered to repair that lighting. There was no public comment, and the next meeting will be determined, and we adjourned on Monday at 7:57 p.m.
Thank you, Vice President Wall, for letting us know how that meeting went, and thank you for facilitating the meeting in my absence. Is there any questions or comments from the board regarding the building and site meeting? Hearing and seeing them. I believe that concludes all of our committee meeting minutes that we have today. We also have some other business matters. There was one board member who attended a summer institute trainings. I believe the dates were from August 11th through the 13th. So we would like to hear from Secretary Willis on how that went for you.
Thank you. I did provide everybody with the three pages for the report. I'm not going to read all of those to you, but I did just star some that I wanted to talk about in each category. So the Friday session was on back to school and staying student focused. They talked about empowering disenfranchised voices in the district by creating avenues for them to be heard, and I was able to share about the work we just did on our advisory committee and in other districts we weren't doing it. So that was a good plus. One of the things they stressed was not collecting data that you're not going to use, and understanding what the data is that you collected. And I know we talked about that's something we want to do, is making sure our data gets reported out after we do surveys. The other thing they talked about was not criminalizing students, and they asked us to come up with examples of those. And the two that I thought of were, I've seen that sometimes children are not allowed to go outside if they don't have hat and gloves. I would rather see our district pay for hat and gloves from the dollar store, or do a drive for free hat and gloves, than to keep children in inside of the school because their parents can't afford having books. Another thing that I pointed out was not being able to participate in school activity because of fines and fees. Being on the PTO, I'm in the office a lot, and I found myself paying library fees for books because students are not allowed to go on field trips sometimes, or they're not allowed to participate in field day because they have fees owed for library books or lunch or anything like that. So I think if we can get rid of doing things like that, then we can move towards being a district that doesn't criminalize poverty. Another thing that was pointed out on the next day, I did the board president's workshop, part 1, and one of the things I thought was good to bring back was that most of the MASB classes we can all take as a group for $825, and then they will refund us $100 per board member that attends. So the cost could be as low as $125 for all of us to be trained on the same thing at the same time. There is no legal requirement to adopt the agenda, and that if we ever have a situation where the agenda is not adopted for some reason, we can operate with a simple majority vote. I thought that was interesting. The other thing he pointed out was if you fail to use the Robert Rules of Order, there's no legal impact because of the complexity of it. Some boards are moving away from the Robert Rules of Orders being in their bylaws. So I thought that was something we might want to consider since it seemed like most of the districts in the room were not using Robert's Rules of Order. The next thing I wanted us to talk about that was talked about heavily in there was public comment. I don't know if that could go to like the policy committee, but the last 3 bullets on page 2 at the top, I wanted to focus on because they talk about public comment extensively, and they wanted the rules to be very reasonable and flexible and written in a way that encourages public comment. They also encourage the public comment rules to be in the bylaws and to make sure that in this day and age we're not allowing personal attacks. They said that you're not required, and this was the legal counsel for MASB that did this presentation, he said we're not required to have people use their name, affiliation, or address in order to give a public comment because it's an open meeting. Anyone's supposed to be able to come here and feel allowed to participate without having to identify themselves. We just can't follow up with them. And so he said to just make sure we stress that we just can't follow up with you if you don't know who you are. The next thing was he stated that we have to permit someone to read public comments for other people as long as they don't go over their time. We can't tell them that they can't read someone else's public comment. But I told him that we don't do it that way. But he suggested that we talk with our legal team and with their legal team to kind of get an understanding on that. On Sunday was also the board president's workshop, and the one thing I wanted to point out there was MASB offers a 3-hour workshop on behavior styles and communication, and I think that's one.
I will of course defer to you, Trustee Abasada, to say whatever you would like to say, but I definitely appreciate your service on this board and to our community, and it is a pain to see you go.
Thank you, President Gator. I thought you would like to announce my resignation as a board trustee due to movement outside of the. Can you hear me?
Maybe right on the mic.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I'll start all over again. I would like to publicly announce my resignation as a board trustee due to movement outside of the city and not eligible to serve on the board anymore. With that being said, I would like to thank everybody that supported me during my service here, from my colleagues on the board or my fellow members, as well as the community, teacher, principal. I want to thank you, and I hope I did the job that you wanted to see out of me during the time I served over here. It was truly an honor to serve to the best of my ability, and I hope I did a nice job during my time. I would like to thank everybody at the table that welcomed me when I joined the board. They all welcomed me with open arms, and we just grew as a big family really quick. And I will miss you all, and I hope I'm sure I'm going to be here. You guys are going to see me, and I'm going to vanish. But it was truly a pleasure working with all of you,
time. And I know I have, full trust that, with working with all of you, that you guys are all passionate about what you're doing. And that's really what's hurting me the most, leaving this board. But I know it's a bittersweet, because I know the district is in good hands with all of you on the board. And I know how passionate you are about what we're doing here to move the district forward. And I'm confident the district is in good hands as well. So thank you for everything you've done for me. I appreciate it, and I will definitely miss it. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe we have some board members who would like to say something.
I'm sure if we could, we'd all say no, but we know that's not allowed. But one thing I just also want to clarify, just in case anybody's wondering, if you did say that you're moving out of the district, you are not out of the district as of today. So you are still, just, in case somebody goes, why is he sitting there? No, he's still in our city, so, in our district. Yes. But we will miss you, definitely.
I just wanted to thank Trustee Absala for his service to the district, and I'm really going to miss our debrief sessions.
I will miss you as well. I appreciate you being on here, and you're just so very kind and thoughtful, and I'm going to miss that. Thank you.
I would talk, but I'm going to cry, so thank you.
All right, anyone else? Mark?
So being a Board of Education member is not an easy job, and I think you've learned that. But certainly, I always think it takes a village to raise a child, right? And these are all our children, and this is the village, and you're certainly part of it. I wish I had a little more time to work with you, but I certainly understand. But I truly want to thank you for your gift, your time for these students and for this school district. So thank you so much.
Okay, and with that being said, I just want to let the board know that there's policy around filling vacancies of board members. It's policy 0142.5. And just to highlight a few important points is that the district and the community can look forward to a board member to fill that vacant position through the interest letter, through the media, through social media, and through word of mouth. So again, I will work very diligently to do my piece, to be able to get the interest letter out, to be able to set a special meeting, and for us to interview candidates to fill Trustee Abasala's vacancy within the next 30 days. If we do not meet that target, Wayne Risa will do it for us. Okay. Any questions from the board regarding that information? All right. I believe that is all of other business except for, to the board, just in case you didn't catch it, Don Japinski's, the spelling, Lupinski, I apologize, the spelling of, and I just had it. I'm sorry. How did I lose it that fast? Lipinsk, Lipinski. Okay. Was there any other business to come before the board? Definitely want to say, since this is our last regular board meeting before the kickoff of the 2023-24 school year, I just want to, on behalf of the board, if it is okay, wish everyone back to the most productive, safe, fun 2023-24 school year, and we look forward to making this school year rock. All right, thank you. On to kudos.
Yeah, so just very short. Again, thank you to everyone who supported us, beaming from the school's representative, the folks that were in the room, my work and my walk around the school district. Again, I've said this before, but it's clear that folks are passionate, that they take pride in this school district. I'm excited to be part of that, and I do want to, again, a special thank you to the central office staff. I keep saying that we're working out of 3 or 4 areas, some in the library, some in the conference room at Polk. It's it's been a challenge, but they've been there every day, keeping things rolling. I do want to thank them, especially want to shout out to Holly and Carol for the work that they've done in getting all the new folks in that are registering students and schools of choice and things. Holly for filling in tonight, so thank you so much.
Okay, I believe that concludes your kudos. There is a need for the board to go into closed session for the purpose of 8H, review of legal opinion. I would assume that the board may need a quick break. So would, is 9:10 okay? Okay. I would need a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of 8H. President Wall, supported by Trustee Botowski. Your discussion. Roll call, please.
Trustee Windless, yes. Trustee Abasala? Yes. Trustee Botowski?
Yes.
Trustee Nasser?
Yes.
Trustee Sterling?
Yes.
Trustee Wall?
Yes.
Trustee Gator?
Yes, motion carries. We will meet for a closed session in the Annapolis High School Media Center. See you all at 9:10. And then, of course, we have to come back from closed session and resume our public meeting. Board chair.
Hi, I'm Rita. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Here, come here. Well, Charlotte is my granddaughter. She is 8, and she is going to be in school.
Really shocked. So shocked.
Saturday afternoon. That's your work coming out. She met the circle. She Yes.
Gives her activities at home. She just for her. She doesn't deal with it.
Love it. Love it.
And I dated her.
It's amazing.
I just like sure.
Teacher Perry.
Don't work, it don't work. I'm very easy to try.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Here's how it goes. If I didn't say anything about that, I'd be yard work. Yard work, I'd be it's so funny, all I need is yeah, you sit outside. I graduated in 93, but I was born and raised here. I went to Carson. They're all but I went back to So I want to say, they just have fun, like, this is annoying. And I'm like, no matter if I'm, and it's interesting because, like, I can't hear some, one is Chris. I'll say, and I'll say it. He's like, are you serious? I gotta say it again. I'm like, I can't hear you. And so, yeah, so they're back. Yeah, it's like, and it's annoying. And so I had him on just talking to him for 45 minutes, and I felt so like someone speaks it, really think about what they said, process it, and then be able to give them an answer. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Like, especially in the lunchroom, like, it's just too much. So like, just having him on for 45 minutes, like, it was so like, this is so crazy. And then I took him off, and I literally felt like, then I was like so far back again, like, not in the conversation. It was so weird. So Chris is like, you can't get it, you can't get it. And I go, well, I learned glasses that help me see you every day. Yeah, so like, when you get hearing aids, it's not because I don't wear glasses when I'm blind. You don't wear hearing aids. It's not because I'm deaf. They need it. Like, and I don't care. I'm so over it. Some people think I'm not over it. My hearing aids.
No, it's funny, a few years back, my family, they insisted that they all thought. I think it's because as a teacher, you're focused on something that you can.
No, they didn't do it for some inches, only mild tone, but there's like the low tones, which like has always been. No, since COVID. So they think that it's probably because I was so sick, and so because I didn't have chemo, so it couldn't have been from that. But it's literally since I was so I went from COVID right to respiratory. It was like not fewer, but they can't say that. But that's when it's really got bad. And my nails, I'm going to have to get my nails tests done. They do. Yes, I know. I know what they're doing some travel.
And it was bad. And I thought, because one of my ears was like,
that's what it probably is, Mayo. But here's the other thing. Insurance. That's mind-blowing. Our insurance doesn't cover a lot of insurance.
And I noticed that.
And they're like $7,000. I did get it cheaper. The guy liked me, and so he gave me an upgrade for starting, but not to the best. But he was speaking to me, and he asked what I did. He was like, "Well, you're a public servant," so I'm like, "I am." And so, yep, so now it was $15,000.
We're gonna get you a horn. Well, one of my closest friends, one of my closest friends was born here.
Because so it's like lifting weights and like your muscles will get stronger. So it might not get worse. Yeah.
Is it left here?
happy to hear Bruce. Yeah. Don't you? Yeah. Actually, it was my teacher who was walking away and that was she's had hearing loss all the time. She's followed yearly, like all the time. And she just had to make a jump a lot. Just turn them off. Turn them off. I don't want to hear you yelling at me. That's cute. That's cute. Yeah. Yeah. It's rare. We just I didn't prefer action. Okay. But I think I did. We're supposed to be. Yeah. Oh, come on.
At least 8 or 9 people were in the play.
Doesn't matter which one. Well,
She's busy.
yeah, but I think those microphones are I don't know if they got them like bubbly. Like, oh, they're not. They're not my problem. The microphones themselves are just not that great. Yeah,
They're all
there.
there. Some are plugged in, some aren't plugged in.
Well, it's a me problem.
Everybody else is saying, oh.
And none of them seem numbers.
Right. Yes.
So they are in our.
Right, everybody wants to make out with it.
They don't, and I feel like they have to look at everybody every time they talk, and they don't realize that it makes a huge difference.
Did you just say her?
She was like that here, and he's gonna have, as soon as she talked to him, it was like, oh.
Why would you hear? You can hear.
Up there, see now down here we can't. Oh, I
Well,
can't.
I can't hear it now.
And that fan, as much as I love the fan, that fan makes a big difference when you shut it off.
It actually cool it down in here.
It did,
Facing it in the door like that, so.
No, yeah, it really did, you could tell when it was shut off, you could feel that it was right. But it does make a huge difference up there, even with the microphone, it does like, oh yeah, shut off.
pressure. I feel absolutely. I think this is insane.
Well, what does this tell you?
They're robots. We're all little folks down here. 100%.
I don't think it's ever
At
been
home.
mentioned.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
About numbers.
Oh, there you go. At home, at the meetings, sometimes people walk up, hey, well, thank you, so what's this? That's it. That's, like, we don't want to talk to you, don't come up here after, don't come up here before.
Because I mean, so that here, it's something not to sit in the first three rows.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and so that you know,
I mean,
it's
that's
really important. Space.
It's like, it's bad, more system, what, like, I don't know, that's not how it works. Like, we're all together, we're working together. Here, I don't feel just. You can wear your faces sometimes, and you can, what is he doing? Yeah, it's the, yeah, the stage is not no, not at all, not at best. It isn't, everybody's like, around everyone, and it just, not being on stage. We did meetings at best years ago, when we would switch schools and we would do that, and it always did it right, the meeting that Mandy did her interview, everything was on the board, it was just, more some things we need on this, it would be my problem.
He kind of just said that, and I said, yeah, it said you can turn in your phone.
Those are.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, but I can't, all this stuff and stuff.
It's how we went, out to Ann Arbor for the concession. And, it was weird because we arrived at the same time, so me, Eric, and Tristan drove together. And as we were walking up, bicycle, because we walked up at the same time. They told us, you go to the elevator, go to the floor. So we were all right there, and so we now started walking off. And I just wanted to walk by. This is right on. I didn't believe it. I saw her do that. Her dog. The dog reported, right? She's leaving. He was in slack. Hey, you guys want to concessions?
Not, appreciate, we're looking at question here. I already said, I like looking at questions here, I didn't do wish meetings when I was a kid, so I can't do it. I know, that's too much for me, I don't even like it out there. It's, all the things, right? Yeah, no, I had to be tested.
Text pictures,
But there's a person who was there. Yeah, they just always do it. So I was never, I never went in years of this. I don't know where to go now. So they just, I don't know. Like concessions here, I already saw us. I was going to do it, but that's what this year is. Oh, I would feel already. Still doing that, not your side of the issue. I think it's just, I think it was too much. I think it should have been
Test.
Okay.
Where's Leslie?
We'll appoint a temporary secretary.
You're next up.
Don't
Right.
run on the stairs.
We don't need to sue you.
Don't running on the stage.
All right, I need a motion to go back into open session at 9:44 p.m.
So moved.
So moved by Vice President Wall,
Support.
supported by Treasurer Sterlini. Discussion, roll call please.
Trustee Abisala. Trustee Bukowski.
Yes.
Trustee Sterlini.
Yes.
Trustee Nasir.
Yes.
Trustee Wall.
Yes.
Trustee Willis, yes. Trustee Gator.
Yes, motion carries. I will now need a motion to adjourn our meeting at 9:44 p.m. Motion by Trustee Bukowski, supported by Trustee Abusala for the last time on our board. Woo! The resolution to accept his resignation, I'm sorry, will be at the next meeting. Okay. We got that done. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Willis, yes. Trustee Abisala.
Yes.
Trustee Bukowski.
Yes.
Trustee Nasir.
Yes.
Trustee Sterlini.
Yes.
Trustee Wall.
Yes.
Trustee Gator.
Yes, motion carries. I'll see you all next week at the board retreat. 5:30, August 21st, Annapolis High School Media Center. Communications will be the topic and improvements around it. Have a good night.
Why did you see what we had there?
They have, well, I asked Donna to.
Is that how you get out of that? Is that how you get